On Thursday, the stock markets hit a record high, but at least one person doesn't seem to be too happy about it.
Day after Fed Chairman Jay Powell sent Kamala Harris a 50 basis point election gift and completely contradicted himself on the economy, whatever, the stock market roared, okay? No matter how political Fed Chairman Jay Powell may be with his 50 basis points election gift to Kamala Harris, the person who helped the American economy the most was Donald Trump during the pre-pandemic first 3 years of his administration, okay? New census numbers show real median income growth during Mr. Trump's pre-pandemic first 3 years compared to Joe Biden's. Overall take-home pay for typical families increased more than 5 times as much under Mr. Trump than under Biden. Up $6,040 for Trump versus just $1,050 under Biden-Harris. Okay.
Yeah, I think somebody is a little bit salty there. Okay. And by the way, let's ignore the fact that Trump actually inherited a better economy from Barack Obama, and Joe Biden inherited an economy that was in distress as a result of the pandemic from none other than Donald Trump. But okay, yeah, sure, right. Now, it's important to note, too, that this is Fox Business. And you would think that if business was doing very well, then Kudlow would be like, well, business is doing great. But for some reason, he's like, yeah, whatever. It was still better under Trump. Look, here's the thing. It's not like the market's being up. The stock market is helping average people. No, average people are still facing some serious difficulties, again, with greedflation, right? But, you know, it's not because, and the reason that he's mad, he's salty about it, is not because it's not helping regular people, right? It's because this news is not helping Donald Trump. That's the reality. Remember, conservatives are basically running on the idea that Biden and Harris are both communists. Okay, yes, that's what they actually have said.
Pink-haired communists
that have destroyed the economy. Is that true? No. Again, are there difficulties for average working people? Absolutely. But the big problem here is that the government has actually been too friendly to business at the expense of average working people. Okay? That's generally because Republicans have blocked anything that would help average people even just a little bit. I know, the call is coming from inside the House, Republicans. Okay, Build Back Better, for example, right? There's some good stuff in that. Good stuff that is actually going to help average people. That's why most Democrats supported it. All the Republicans were against it. And then, of course, you had people like Joe Manchin, who was a Democrat at the time, now an independent, was a deciding vote. And guess what? He helped Republicans kill it. That's right. And it's also because Joe Manchin is one of those pro-business and anti-anything that helps working people kind of politicians. The guy owns coal mines. He's a coal baron, of course. And this is one example. And look, the Democrats, by the way, in their economic policies, they put forward very centrist, very kind of milquetoasty, let's be fair, means-tested bills that, yes, would help people, all right, and do help people. But they're still, again, very centrist and milquetoasty and not as left as what the American people were hoping for. You know, things like, for example, you know, lowering the cost of some prescription drugs. Hey, that's great. That's going to help people. Wonderful. But really, you should allow Medicare to negotiate all prescription drugs instead of just a few, right? And that's what leftist policy looks like. It's more of like, hey, we're just going to allow Medicare to negotiate all prescription drugs. I don't really give a damn about your profits, okay? Because right now, people cannot afford your medications and they're dying, literally. Okay, so anyway, no, the thing is that Republicans will block those means-tested bills, and that's it. And so, you know, Democrats put them forward and water them down in the hopes of getting some Republicans, and of course, there are more corporate members to vote in favor of them, and Republicans are like, oh, no, you're going to help the American people 2%? Oh, not on my watch. Oh, no.
can't let that happen.
Okay. And look, you know, here's the thing, too. Kudlow's blaming Democrats for inflation, even though inflation is actually about half of the inflation, according to studies, right, has been proven to be a result of corporations jacking up their prices and then using inflation as a reason to do so, even though their costs have not gone up. In a lot of cases, their costs have went down since the pandemic. And yes, there were real disruptions during the pandemic that did cause some of their input prices to go up. Those have normalized, those have gone back down, but the prices have not. The prices continue to go up. Inflation continues to go up, but so does corporate profits. And so they jack up the price. And then these same corporations bankroll Republicans and, yes, corporate Democrats, like at the time, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, to try to block any efforts to help average working people be able to afford the new prices. For example, Sinema, very famous for blocking the increase in the minimum wage, which again, $15. But we're still talking about $15. Okay, the minimum wage, federal minimum wage, is still $7.25. Okay, and yet, they're talking about $15 when really a living wage would be about $26 now. And that's how long we've been fighting for this, just to get a living wage, just to get $15, which isn't a living wage anymore. So that's the issue, right? So now, that said, getting back to his criticism of Jerome Powell, who, by the way, is a Republican, and by the way, who also did these rate, increases to try to cool inflation. But really, that's a way to help give employers an edge when it comes to hiring, making things more expensive, making it so that unemployment goes up, so that more people have to compete for a smaller number of jobs, so that dilutes their ability to negotiate for higher wages, to have these companies have to actually raise their wages and put out incentives to get people to actually work in those jobs. So Jerome Powell's actually been helping corporations quite a bit. But this rate cut actually might help. Yes, it obviously helps businesses quite a bit, but might make it easier for some people to borrow things. Like, for example, the home mortgage is down to 6%. Still not great, still really high, but having it decrease will help the affordability of homes. And if it continues with these rate cuts, that'll help slash several $100s potentially off people's mortgages, which will help them be able to afford stuff and help the economy. That said, this guy is criticizing the rate cut, and this rate cut doesn't have to go through Congress. So this guy's like, whatever. Whatever, it's not good enough. Yeah, that's great. No, if this happened under Donald Trump, if the Fed chair under Trump ended up getting a half a point rate cut, this guy would be singing his praises. Oh my God, best economy ever. If the economy were doing as what it's doing right now under Trump, after a pandemic, he would be absolutely saying, oh my God, Trump, what a genius. What an economic genius. Our markets are booming. But see, it happens under Biden, and this guy seems rather kind of upset about it, which is weird. But it's actually not weird when you look at it, because once again, they don't actually really care. Okay, this is about politics. In fact, during a rally with J.D. Vance, yes, a Republican crowd booed the interest rate cut.
Question is
really quickly, just on the Fed cutting. It's a very Wall Street Journal-y question, but the Fed cut the interest rate today by 0.5 percentage point, going to alleviate inflation for a lot of people. And so, if you have any reaction to that, we'd love it.
Well, look, my reaction is my reaction is a 0.5 point is nothing compared to what American families have been dealing with for the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah, it's going to alleviate inflation for a lot of people. But that sucks. It doesn't help Donald Trump. That's a reality, okay? Booing positive economic news, look, Again, it's not even that great, half a point, right? But it's something that's positive. But when you tell Republicans whose whole message is, oh my God, we got to do something for the economy, and they boo it, it really shows you that it's all about owning the libs. That's all they care about. And the thing is, too, there's this false idea that a lot of Republican voters are poor, right? I'm not saying that there are no poor Republican voters. No. But it turns out that you have 36% of low-income voters that are Republican, compared to 58% of low-income voters who are Democratic voters. So this whole idea that, oh, no, it's just these Republicans are just normal, low-income, working-class folks, salt of the earth, not really all that true. You have a large percentage of Republican voters who are actually doing well. They're well off. They're living in the suburbs, okay? They're in the burbs. They're business owners. Same thing. You had a lot of people on January 6th who, again, weren't poor people. They were business owners. One of them flew out there on a private jet in order to take part in the Capitol riots. And so this whole idea that, oh, no, you see, Republicans are just a representative of the poor, oppressed, people that are in poverty, the working class, not at all true. Okay? 36% of low-income voters are Republican. They represent, and the reason that more Democratic voters are in poverty, right, and vote for Democrats is because Democrats consistently have been trying to put forward policies to alleviate that poverty. Poverty that's been created in a lot of ways by Republican policies. And look, Republicans, they represent the rich and business owners, okay? Now, the thing is, nobody likes the rich, okay? So they have to pretend to care about the average working class person in order to get more votes. Now, that's what's going on here, okay? So Kudlow and J.D. Vance, they're doing really the same thing. They are pretending that this news sucks, even though it's pretty good for them financially. It's pretty good for their donors financially. But when it comes to the politics, well, that's where it's terrible. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.